beautiful Elissa Goodman. How are you today?
I am fantastic because I'm talking to you.
I know. I think back that we recorded our first podcast over 2 years ago now. Can you believe that?
Seriously, really? 2 years ago?
Yeah. Isn't that
Oh,
funny?
that is wild.
Well, I have so many
Feels
episodes.
like yesterday.
I know. Well, and it's funny because I think we connected right away, but now we can truly say that we're friends.
Absolutely.
You are in my,
Hands down.
unfortunately, I'm like part of your traumatizing DNA. Right?
So I would say you're part of my, waking up me. You're waking myself up.
Oh,
So I
I
wouldn't
love
say DNA,
that.
you're just waking up my soul.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. I could be your alter ego.
Right.
And what you do is you actually help me live a more healthy, full life. It's true.
Oh, that's
I
what I
mean, I
want to do.
gained so much inspiration from you. I really do. I mean, beyond, and by the way, you know how each person gives each other a gift in any relationship? It's like I'm waking up this alter ego of yours, right? And I look at you and I go, "Oh, she's so poised." My mom, I was like that when I was younger, and I was like, "No." I love
Yes,
it.
I was trained well. I was trained well and not well,
Tru-
as you know.
Trust me, my
Yes, very.
my mother tried. It's charm school, all of it. It was modeling, whatever. It didn't work. It didn't work.
I did all that too.
Did
I
you?
mean, I was kicked out of modeling school, by the way, because I couldn't even walk
Funny.
down a runway.
I
I'm
only
a
did one
klutz
modeling.
beyond klutz.
That's so funny that you say that because in my friends, my closest friends who will definitely listen to this, who have known me since college will always say she is the biggest klutz. Like she will fall. I like fell like carrying somebody's train down the aisle. It was, it's like I'm not the person like you really want me to like, carry like your china.
Right. Yeah. You're gracious, but not graceful.
Exactly. They're two different G's. I'm godlike though. I'm definitely godlike. No, I'm just kidding. And I'm not a guru, as we know.
I mean, you have seen me dancing on like Instagram. You can see that I don't quite have the, rhythm and like I've been taught how to dance, but I still can't get it together. So
All I'd like to say is I don't judge that because you know why?
thank God.
To me, it's like anybody that can let go and show that part of themselves publicly because that's what we have to do, right? Or we want to do on some level because we want to grow our businesses. I think it's amazing. So, no judgment on the dancing. I love to dance. So, for me, anybody who shows up on the dance floor with me is enough.
I know. It is fun. It
It
is
is
fun.
fun.
We need it. We
It
need
is.
to we need to celebrate life.
We do
We need
need
to
to
celebrate
celebrate life.
ourselves.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where the dancing comes into play, right?
Agree with you. Being playful, because we know
Yeah.
that people that are more playful, speaking of longevity, because that's basically one of the things that you focus on is building longevity within people, is playfulness is one of the keys actually to long life and realigning with that childlike person inside of you. So I love that.
Yeah.
So before we get too deep, allow me to actually introduce my podcast family out there, reintroduce them to not only my friend, but a holistic nutritionist and, somebody who really focuses on the whole person, a functional nutritionist and certified, and somebody who I seek guidance from, I would say daily, related to any topic in my health, whether that be beauty, whether that be food intake, whether that be supplements for my focus, whether that be the next routine that I might be wanting to take on. I am uber grateful because you are an expert actually in a lot of things.
Thank you. Thank you. I look at myself as I've said this many times. I'm obsessed with what I do.
Mhm.
I think that is, I'm a passionate. I read everything I get my hands on. And I mean, to a degree that it's like a little overkill. Sometimes David goes, "Have you read a book lately? Have you, do you focus on what's going on in politics and what's going on in the world?" Because I'm just so obsessed with getting people healthy and getting them to a place where they can thrive, and really, and exhale at the same time. Like, oh, I got this.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think the thing is that, there's people that just focus on nutrition, right? And you're so much more than that. Because, for example, in the longevity frame of mine, things that come up for me are your cleanses that you do, that I'm obsessed with. Speaking of being obsessed. So I would say that I'm a frequent I'm a frequent flyer member, premium platinum, related to the cleanse. And it's not
Wow.
about weight loss, and it's not about wanting to look different necessarily. It's about wanting to feel different. And I'm always curious, you have the 5-day cleanse, now you have the 3-day cleanse, you have the online version that you can purchase. Like, what do you think like helps it be so successful? I mean, I think in part it's because you have this, like, the ingredients is amazing. I mean, look how beautiful this is.
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't want to eat that?
I mean, we talk about how it has over 50 different vegetables in 5 days. And who can say that they focus on eating 50 different kinds of vegetables in 5 days? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's where all the good stuff is, stuff that's grown in the sun, from the earth, like vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, polyphenols, prebiotics, fiber. I mean, it's loaded with all the good stuff. It just is a powerhouse. I think that is what is incredible. Plant-based food is easier to digest for most of us, not all of us, but plant-based food takes about 90 minutes to go through the small intestine, and animal protein and cow dairy take 14 hours.
Wow.
So that's why most of the cleanse is plant-based. I realize that people don't get enough fiber. They're not going to the bathroom enough. So it's loaded with fiber, natural fiber. And the other very, very cool thing that we do is there is a ton, I was going to say shitload, but I wasn't sure I could say that on the podcast,
Okay. Get
of
love.
love, of love that goes into this food. Like, we kind of Reiki the food. Like, the people who work in the kitchen love what they do. We love putting the cleanse out. So everybody who touches this food and this cleanse loves what they do. And that shows. I know when your mom is cooking for you, or you cook for your family and you cook with love, your kids and your family feel it.
Yes.
And I think that's what's missing in food out there. Food can be nourishing, but it's like, is it nurturing?
Yeah, and I also think, to your point, it's like the energy that you put into it reflects back in the way it is. It's like everything is personalized down to
Mhm.
your branding. And it's like it's inviting and it welcomes you in. Whether that be, I mean, I love the bars too, that are Erewhon. Everybody should know that. And everything tastes fresh and delicious. Do you work with like a specific company that provides you with all of these vegetables, or
Oh, yes, we
you
do
source?
work with an organic farmer.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we design all the recipes ourselves, but we definitely work with an organic farmer who brings it in fresh. We may now have gone back to making real bone broth because I love the collagen of real bone broth, like
Yeah.
chicken
Me
bone
too.
broth.
Mhm.
We do vegan as well, but it just doesn't taste the same, and it doesn't have as many nutrients. So we get that from this incredible butcher as well. So, everything is sourced very beautifully, and we manage it. We keep it small, on the smaller side. We don't do, 100 cleanses. We do 75, or we just want to make sure we're overseeing everything, and everything, the quality is right.
And
So that
like,
is important.
walk me back. Okay. When you first
Mhm.
got started, like, how long have you been doing this? 14 years?
Well, the cleanse, we're in our ninth year with the cleanse, but I've been doing this for 10 years. Nutrition,
Okay.
I went to school for 2 years and then got certified and graduated from a certified nutrition school in Beverly Hills. And I learned all the different modalities: Ayurvedic, Chinese medicine, supplements, Western, all about diet and food. And also about mental, emotional well-being in this program. It was really, really cool. There was like 6 of us in the program for 2 years. And then when I graduated, Cafe Gratitude had just come down from San Francisco. So they hired me to put together a food delivery program.
Oh,
That's
okay.
how it all started. I didn't want to become I didn't want to I didn't go to school to become a nutritionist.
Yes.
So I just got lucky. I was at the right place at the right time. And Cafe Gratitude said, will you put together this 5-day program for us? And I'm like, hell yes.
But the
And
thing is, back then, also Cafe Gratitude was actually really like with the diet that was very popular back then was the macrobiotic diet. So it was like you
well,
got
that
it
was
at the right
MCAFE.
time. Oh,
That
that's
was
right.
MCAFE.
Cafe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did both programs. I did MCAFE and Cafe Gratitude, which was so incredible because I did raw vegan and I did macrobiotic. So when I handheld all these cleansers for the 5 days and found out what was going on with them, some things were working, some things weren't working, and looked up and worked with functional doctors to figure out how to help them. I learned so much because they were different diet modalities, and I learned how, certain foods would work for certain people, or raw vegan food would work for certain people and wouldn't work for others. Other people wanted cooked, nourishing food, even some more animal protein. I learned so much from that, and that's how it all started. And then a couple years in, I had an assistant who loved to cook, and she's like, let's start our own program. I'm like, oh my God, how are we going to do that? That seems overwhelming.
Mhm.
And here we are 9 years later. Honestly, can't believe where
It's
we're
like
at.
one of the things that you love the most that you do too. I remember one night when we were out, you shared that, and I thought, that says a lot about your personality because first of all, there's a lot of detail in it. It's very curated. And in addition, beyond just like the ingredients, like the way it's presented, the way you deliver it, like from start to finish, it's this like it's a whole process. It's like putting out a product, but like we're not putting products at Target where it like just like every month or you do it how many times a month?
Every week, every
Every
week.
week.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
week is a new curation of like, kind of the product development process. So it
yeah.
says a lot about you and who you are and the type of like integrity you have.
Yeah, I love also, I love food. I also, as you know, love beauty. I love I love, I'm trying to build a very authentic, beautiful life. I love food. I love to enjoy myself. So I love people. Like the whole
Yeah.
combination has really helped me, design and produce my brand, because I've always been a people person, and I was in sales in the early years. So it wasn't so easy back then, but now it's easy because I do what I love. I wasn't doing what I loved then, but it's easy to take care of people. It's weird to say that, but it's just so, like, I can't believe how much I get to give back to the world and help
Yeah.
people and take care of them with food, or with my Zooms, or with my 7-day online, or, anything that I
One-on-one
touch.
nutrition,
Yeah.
because you still
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
I do have a layer of that in a question regarding like, okay, so you basically go to nutrition school and you didn't go to what is that one?
IIN.
Yeah,
I did
exactly.
not. Yeah.
Okay. And so you go to nutrition school, but before then, like, did you have challenges? Was there a reason why you decided to actually start, going to nutrition school?
This is so interesting. Someone 2 days ago said, so have you had challenges in your life? Have you, come up against obstacles? And I was like, holy
You're like,
shit.
where do we
Again,
start?
like my
You're like,
whole
get out
life
your
has been
pen
a
and paper.
challenge.
We can
My
write
whole
a
life
book
has
on
been
it.
a challenge. Like every part of my world in my life growing up was challenging. There wasn't anything that was smooth sailing for me. And not until recently, I would say until I was 58, and I'm 63 now. So at 58 is when
You're
things started to
63.
chill.
Can we discuss your age? I mean, look at you, 63. Oh,
Great. I know, I feel great. I don't love the number, but I feel great. But
it's
yeah, I had cancer at 32. I was always sick growing up. I had a low white blood cell count, so I was constantly getting sick as a kid. I had the cancer at 32, Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had trouble getting pregnant. I ended up having Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, celiac. I ended up having major anxiety after pregnancy and postpartum. And all kinds of shit happened. And then my husband dies at 45. It
Mm,
was, it was nuts.
yeah. Just
And
that like one more layer of, I would call it trials. Like, I mean, some people are born without trials, and you have had at least five major ones.
yes, yeah. And I was saying to her, this friend that asked me that, and I thought, holy crap, I was able to get through all of that. Like how incredible that was. I don't take notice of that very often, as you know, as a friend. I
Yeah.
don't really pat myself on the back, the fact that I was able to get through all of those obstacles, and they're still coming, but I do say that I can handle them differently. And I have people like you or people in my life that can help me get through them faster. That's what's
Mhm.
so wonderful. Obstacles are going to come. Their life is not smooth sailing, but you want to have people around you that can support you. That's the
Yeah.
biggest
I
thing.
think yeah, like what you're talking about is basically like having the tools to process through, and actually slowing yourself down, right? Because we're all so busy, to actually sit and feel it. It sucks, right? But I
It
will
does.
say, like, I am actually always impressed that you do reserve room for self-care. Like, it'd be easy for you to basically be like, no, but like when you're ready to problem solve, you move into action. You're like, who can I
Right.
talk to?
It's true. I think that's the
Let me
Aries
get
in.
my army together. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. That's why I relate.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that again, feels so lucky, because a lot of people out there, when they call me on the Zoom calls, they're like, I don't know who to talk to. I've been in therapy and this isn't working. And, how do I go deeper and all of these things? And I feel like it's pretty amazing to have a lot of tools in my toolbox, whoever it is, a hypnotist, a coach, a Reiki healer, an energy healer, a phenomenal doctor who can oversee what's going on with someone's blood work, or myself, or dealing with hormones, or dealing with blood sugar issues, or thyroid issues, or whatever it is, or cancer.
Yes,
It's like an arsenal of individuals that are pretty exceptional.
absolutely. I
That's
mean, I think
helpful.
I think one of the best things that any of us can do is surround ourselves with people that are going to help us. Number one, but number two, have a community, and don't be actually afraid to step into a community or show that you don't know, or you don't know which way to turn. Right.
Right.
So, in which case, I want to ask you a little bit about when you had cancer. Okay. So, when you found out that you had cancer, like, how did you handle it? Because you had two kids, right?
Not
This
yet.
is before kids. Okay.
I had many miscarriages prior to probably 3 or 4 miscarriages before the cancer. So I
Mm,
was lucky. That was a lucky thing. I didn't need to have a kid and then be diagnosed with cancer. So I was diagnosed with cancer. I mean, I didn't know I had cancer, except for I was getting a massage sitting upright, like
mhm.
we are right now. And the masseuse was massaging my neck and shoulder blades and found a lymph node inside my shoulder blade and said to me, you're not supposed to have swollen lymph nodes in there. So go get that checked out. Next thing I knew, the doctor takes a look at it, doesn't look good, biopsied it. It's Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I didn't handle it very well. I completely went into a very dark, dark place, freaked out. Cancer kills you. Like that's
Yes.
what we thought 30 years ago. I was petrified. My husband's dad had died of cancer when he was 2 years old. So I just knew cancer was not good.
Mm,
And so I really freaked out. I mean, I knew that my emotional well-being wasn't good. I didn't feel calm. I didn't feel any self-love for myself in those days. I was only trying to climb the corporate ladder, try to
mhm.
make money so I could afford a house in LA. I just was like on a treadmill and didn't even know where I was going. So I had one doctor that was so impactful on that journey. He was a radiologist at St. John's in LA, and I went to see him begrudgingly. I didn't want to go see another doctor. And he sat me down and he looked at my tests and he said it was an early stage, which I already knew. And he looks at me and he said, are you happy with your life? Do you love what you do for a living? I was working for Vogue magazine at the time. I was in
Mhm.
marketing sales, and I just moved to LA not very, very soon before that. And I was living in New York and I loved New York. I didn't love LA.
Mm,
And he's like, what's emotionally, how are you doing? And I just remember bursting into tears and being like, I don't even know how to answer these questions. I don't feel good about myself and I don't even know, you know, like how to feel good or if I am happy with what's going on in my world or if I'm not, definitely not happy with my job. Like it is so stressful.
yeah.
Um, and so I don't know what any of that means. And he said to me, this cancer needs to be dealt with that psychological part. Like that is a huge component to why you're sick.
Mm,
And yes, I was a
interesting.
sugar lover, caffeine,
Well,
you
you were
know,
probably trying to balance out your cortisol levels in order to basically, it's the same thing. Well, yeah, it's like people do that because they're trying to survive, right?
right, right. I was just in
How do I
survival
get an
mode.
upper so that way I can keep going, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I was in survival mode and my whole life. I never knew what calm was or, when I tried to chill out, couldn't chill out, that kind of stuff. So I did go into therapy. I read every self-help book I could find I went into yoga then and
Mhm.
it was great. LA was perfect for all of
Yeah,
this.
I can imagine.
I started juicing
Perfect
in
place.
those days. I went to Erewhon, but it wasn't Erewhon that we know, but there was a lot of it. I went to acupuncture.
Mhm.
I started doing colonics. I mean, I poured myself into all of those other modalities.
Yeah,
And
it's very interesting because the first time that I interviewed you, it's so interesting about interviews, right? You never know what's going to show up. The first time you interviewed, you didn't talk about it in the same way. And I think it's so amazing because the depth, it's like what you're saying is in your end results, it was cancer. But what you probably see on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't have to be cancer. There's many of these warning signs that people do not recognize.
right, absolutely. And many, way too many,
Yes. Like I
I
had a
just,
very similar situation, like why I left the corporate world. Like this doctor told me, and I also was in tears. Like I was getting hives all over my body for months. And I totally was like, get a Diet Coke, my assistant. Go give me a Diet Coke. I just got to put something cold on it. I'll be fine. But the reality is, like, our bodies are speaking to us.
mhm,
There are vessels, right? And
yeah,
so I think the way you're describing this is amazing because whether you have cancer, you have anxiety, you have depression, you have what we eat,
digestion issues.
digestion, yeah, like sleep. We were just talking about that before the call. I think is a very, they're all, they're asymptomatic of real symptoms within your body of what external pressures are that we're carrying, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know people who have healed themselves from all kinds of health issues without doing Western meds, which is pretty incredible. I mean, there are tons of stories out there. So they did it with, rewiring, their brains, de-stressing, sleep, just really trying to find some compassion for themselves, honoring who they are, loving themselves, that all kind of calms down the central nervous system, puts you into a parasympathetic nervous system place instead of fight or flight. Like that's where the healing takes place. That's the real, I still have to be honest, I visit there. I don't live there, but that is where the good stuff happens.
But how
So,
do we, like some of the things you were talking about before we got on the call, things that you're religious about, right? You were talking about the aura ring and your sleep bed. And what was the other thing you said? The wrist, what's the wristband
yeah,
called?
so it's called Apollo.
Hollow.
Uh,
And like, but you know stuff about sleep that we don't know.
mhm,
So, I mean, even when you said that about men versus women, I would love to hear more about that.
right. I know. I just actually recently learned this and I didn't realize it. So women need 8 to 10 hours of sleep because we restore our bodies our adrenals. Everything gets kind of restored within our adrenals. Men could get away with 6 to 7 hours because they don't restore in their adrenals. They're more like come from their energy, their drive comes from their testicles. Ours comes from our adrenals. Of course, again, men, don't have to do as much as women, but yeah, women need, more sleep. And so that's been a life changer for me, religious about getting a minimum of 8 hours. When I get 10, I'm like one happy girl. Like that is incredible, but that doesn't happen that often. So it is, sleep is where we repair, we restore, we regenerate, we detox. I mean, all the good stuff happens in the sleep. So I love my Aura Ring to kind of give myself an idea of how well I slept the night before. It also gives you your heart rate variability. It gives you also like your exercise and how well you're moving your body. So how much deep sleep, how much REM you're getting, because those are the important ones.
Really need to get an Aura Ring.
I mean, when it is kind of sucks when you get a bad score because then your day is totally ruined. That's not a good thing.
That's actually why I stopped wearing my Apple Watch.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It can be a bad thing. So
I was like, what are you talking about? I just did a totally hard workout and you're telling me that I didn't do enough?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I know. I know. And then also the 8 Sleep is this mattress pad, and this mattress, it's very expensive. So I will qualify that. And I was lucky enough to be given it, but it actually has 2 settings on 2 sides of the bed for your partner to have a different setting than you. And it actually will cool yourself. It has water and cools your body during the night. So the body needs to get to a certain temperature so it can get into a deep sleep. That has been incredible because I still sometimes visit a little menopause symptoms.
Yeah.
So with this 8 Sleep, you don't, because your body's cooled. So there are no night sweats. Or when you drink alcohol, sometimes you sweat. I don't know if you do. I
yes,
do.
I do. That's really
it depends on how much.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Is
and it cools your body. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, it's so interesting because this is
wreaks havoc with your hormones.
Interesting. Well,
yeah.
And what I would say is interesting is that when I went into menopause, which is a whole other podcast in and of itself, but I literally started sweating in places that I never sweat.
Yeah, I know.
Why is that? Like in my shin.
Awful. Yeah. I mean, because, we have hormones that travel throughout the body. So yes, they definitely, when estrogen gets too low, that's in progesterone, the balance of estrogen and progesterone are off, and testosterone creeps in there too, but it's more about progesterone and the estrogen's too low. And that, we also we don't detox dirty estrogen. We have 3 types of estrogen. We don't detox the dirty estrogen, as they call it, out of our system fast enough, or some of us don't detox at all. So that also is a problem with the night sweats.
Yeah.
That we're not cleaning up our system on a daily basis from the estrogen that doesn't need to be there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So I know longevity is like a big, funny enough, Prolong just texted me a reminder. My other best friend.
Right, exactly.
You're both my.
I like them. I like Prolong.
Yeah, but it's not food. I mean, it's dehydrated food, and it brings results. Let's say that, but it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So, anyways, off of Prolong because we're on with you. So let's talk about longevity a little bit. So I know that you've pretty much made a commitment to try to have a prosperous life in all forms, right? And so my question for you is, what does longevity look like for you? Like, is this like, I want to live to 100, or I want to feel my best, or I don't know.
Yeah, good question. Well, of course it is. At the moment, I want to feel my best.
Mm-hmm.
Each year, I want to progress to feel better. I mean, a lot of us as we age, we just feel like we're not going to feel better, right? We're going to have sleep issues, digestive issues, going to gain weight. Skin's going to sag. I mean, all that crappy stuff that happens to us.
Who says that?
Sleep is going to suck, So I don't want any of that. And there's so much incredible longevity research and anti-aging research these days, and all these incredible functional doctors doing books on reversing your biological age. I mean, Mark Hyman and Peter Attia, and like, just there's so many incredible modalities out there for us to, really get healthier and be more vibrant and thrive as we age. So that is my goal. When I did a biological test with Thorne a couple of years ago, or a year ago, it was a couple of years ago, I think, I was 62. It was a year ago. My biological age was 54. So I was like, yes, that's how I want it, with all these biomarkers. So I want to just be clear headed, be able to focus on the projects that I'm working on, have the energy, you know, as I've got two kids getting married this year, and hopefully grandchildren's in the near future. I mean, I want to have the energy for all that.
Mhm.
So that's the goal, really. And I also want to teach my clients, especially the Zoom group people that I love, I want to teach them how to age gracefully, how to age well. They're calling me because they don't feel good. And I didn't feel good most of my life. So now that I'm in, I've tried all shitload of supplements and diet modalities and all these different modalities that are out there, like ozone or hyperbaric chambers or cryo or, infrared saunas. I mean, there's just so much out there for us. I've tried them all, and cold plunge therapy, everything. And what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and IVs. And so there is a lot out there for me to be able to teach these people, what they can do or can't do, where they're at. And I'm like, you don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay in this place at
Mhm.
all. They're like, well, my doctor's just telling me, like, this is just what it's going to be. Well, I'm just
Mhm.
going to have to take these meds forever. Some people might have to take meds forever. I'm not saying, like, I'm not against meds, but
Mhm.
some people can get off their insulin, can get off their, cholesterol meds, can get off their thyroid meds, which I
Mhm.
did. So, and feel good.
Well, that's good to know because I'm
Yeah.
still on thyroid meds, so maybe we need to start working on
Yeah.
that.
We need to work on that.
We have a lot of shit to work on, which is they just keep piling up. Thank God you're an expert in so many things. You'll have me for a client forever, and definitely a friend. I mean, you're stuck.
Yeah.
So,
And
but yeah, go ahead.
And now, yeah, we were talking about earlier. Now, what's fun is I've entered into a whole different regime for myself and my clients. So I am actually doing blood work for people because I am sending a request form to their doctor, the blood work that I'd like to have them have done. And the doctors are laughing at us like, that
Yes,
is too much. We don't
yes,
need to do that. You don't need that.
yeah.
So now I have association with a company in San Francisco called Rupa, and I can send a kit to your house with all the blood work you need, for about $250, which is an incredible
It's
price.
a really good
And then
deal.
we talked about a phlebotomist can come to the house, or you can
Yeah.
go to Quest or LabCorp and get it taken. And the blood results come back in a week or two. And you cannot believe the incredible things I'm seeing on blood work. I
Mm.
mean, there's a doctor also at Rupa that analyzes it as well as myself, but we're seeing really low vitamin D levels, of course. We're seeing low B12 levels, but
Mhm.
most doctors would say that's fine. The
Yes.
vitamin D, B12 levels are fine. I'm seeing, dehydration epidemics. I'm seeing glucose levels too high. I'm
Mm.
seeing, like, also all kinds of, like, we do hormones. Oh, the biggest one right now, Michelle, is heavy metals and pesticides. I'm
Oh,
seeing,
interesting.
I just got a test back for myself where my arsenic was a 10. And my
Wow.
naturopath was like, this is not okay. Where are you getting this arsenic? I'm like, how do I detox it? How do I detox it? She's like,
Yeah.
we got to find out where you're getting it. We had our water tested and the arsenic was high.
Wow. It's interesting when you bring up things like heavy metals because most people look at the obvious things like vitamin D and vitamin B, right? Heavy metals is normally like a naturopathic doctor or a holistic nutritionist like yourself is going to look into those things. And you can have so many major problems from heavy metals that people aren't aware of, or mercury, which is a metal, but
Yeah.
like from the fish you eat. Like if you are, eating certain types of fish, like, like I had to do a chelation diet like years ago. And it was not an easy thing, but I remember that I felt so much better after I detoxed those heavy metals.
You know,
Very hard on your system.
they are the core, like, of all kinds of health issues. If you have that stuff in your system, causes inflammation, it just wreaks havoc with all kinds of health issues. So it's hard to be super healthy and have heavy metals or pesticides, in your
Yeah.
system that are higher than they should be.
My question for you is also, you mentioned energy, right? You want to have the energy to be able to be with your grandchildren and, feel good. So, like, how do you live life optimally? Like, I mean, I know everybody will say, it's like, I just posted something yesterday about like hydration, diet, and exercise, right? But like, how do we have time for it all? Like going to these doctor's appointments and, I mean, I know like I'm behind on stuff like my colonoscopy because I don't have time. But
Right.
time is an excuse, as we know in coaching. So it's like prioritizing self, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
what is like, if you were to say, like, okay, you don't have time for it all, how about you just focus on this? Like when you coach your clients, like, how do you recommend they move forward?
Well, I would say, yeah, time is an issue, of course. Yeah. I think for me, you know, staying, taking a little bit of time each day to tune in and ground myself, as we talk about. And a lot of times I do something, I think Mel Robbins probably does this. I put my hands over my heart and I say, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm loved. You know, just getting myself, I feel like my head back connected to my body because I
That
feel a lot of times very disconnected. So just reconnecting is huge. Then I'm coming from a grounded place and a more centered place of, okay, what's really important? Then I listen to my instincts more too. They're stronger. They're speaking to me all the time. But a lot of times when I'm not in my body and I'm not grounded, I'm not listening to them. So those instincts are huge. Like, should I go drink some more water right now? You know, should I go take a little nap or do a little meditation, or should I go for a walk, or should, even eat a healthy food? Or is it a bigger issue? Like, do I really need to like go get some blood work done because I'm really haven't been feeling well for a long period of time and now it's time. Like so I think that is really, really important. I mean, there's always the basic stuff of, I find cellular epidemic of dehydration, because if you're dehydrated, your cortisol and your adrenaline are going to go up and you're going to like destroy your mucosal lining. A lot of people don't know that from your gut.
mm.
So I find that a huge problem.
Don't they also say that the water that we're drinking is actually not really helping us hydrate? So we
Yeah,
have to be very careful about the types of water we drink, right? I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah,
whatever it is that's from our faucet, even if it's purified,
yeah,
uh, still has stuff in it. And so,
yeah,
the goal is, I mean, listen, we're throwing a lot out there, but whatever you can tackle, hydration
yeah.
is probably one of the most important things in your body.
It really is. I mean, a lot of times they say half your body weight, but really it's women need about 94 ounces. Men need like over 100, maybe 120 or 100, like somewhere along that line. I mean, that's more than we've been told recently. Because over the counter meds dehydrate us, caffeine, animal protein, cow dairy, sugar, they're all dehydrating. So we don't realize that. But if we're, having water and having a green juice or having a great smoothie or having a soup, or a salad, we're eating hydrating foods a lot of times.
Exactly.
So that does
They
help.
have
But
water in them.
yeah, like Ultima Replenisher, I always talk about this. It's kind of a hydrating powder that I don't live without. It's 10 years now. And this family likes lemonade and orange, and it has magnesium, manganese, potassium, sodium, zinc, all kinds of
That's
minerals.
amazing.
Minerals are what help water go into your cells.
Mm.
So basically, you won't be running to the bathroom to go pee. You're really hydrated. Your energy levels are better. It curbs your appetite. It's exceptional. You take a scoop and put it into 32 ounces of water because it does have stevia. So it can be a little strong in the sugar, like the stevia aspect. But Ultima Replenisher is a God's gift to my like
So it's called Ultimate
hydration.
Replenishers.
Ultima,
Ultimate.
Ultima,
Okay,
Ultima Replenisher.
I'm in on
The
that.
lemonade and orange are our favorites. It's a lifesaver. I travel with it. It's great for jet lag.
You put in a
So
little
I'd say
tea, or do they come in little packets?
they come in travel packets.
Okay.
They're incredible. They're
When I'm
incredible. And
Go ahead.
I was going to say the electrolyte things are loaded with sodium, which, is good, but this is cool because it has a balance of the minerals. And minerals are important for calming your central nervous system as well as hydrating you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that I'm picking up on all these really good tips right now. How come I don't know these things? How come we don't talk about this when we have tequila? Just
I know because they're not sexy or exciting. So,
it's exciting. It's
hydration
exciting
powder
over
is not so
50.
sexy.
It's exciting over 50. Maybe we should take one of those ultimate replenishers and put them inside our tequila drinks. Probably
I'm
work.
also, you're right. It's helpful. It's so helpful for hangovers. But by the way, there's that powder on the market that you know about, AG1 greens powder. It's everywhere. It also is kind of cool because you're actually, if you don't have time to juice or make a smoothie, you can throw that in water and you can get a lot of nutrients at a cellular level. So that's my other nice little tip because when you take supplements and capsules, it's very hard for us to break them down and to absorb like everything in that capsule. We're lucky if we absorb 40%. So when you take powders and liquids and things like that, you absorb way more. So that AG is pretty exceptional for getting nutrients at a cellular level. That's another problem. So it's dehydration at a cellular level and it's nutrients at a cellular level.
Wow, that's amazing. My daughter takes that. The
Oh,
age
yeah,
She
that's
doesn't
cool.
actually eat. She'd rather have pasta. So her idea is that if she has that, that her skin will be better. I'm like, how about you start with water? But anyways, I had a thought around your product offerings, right? So people are clear. So
Yeah.
you have this cleanse. You do one-on-one nutrition.
Yes.
You have the bars, which is separate. That's an Air one. And then you have these calls that you do. Are they weekly? So
Monthly.
because what I love is that there's a different opportunity for people to get involved in your brand. That it's
Yeah.
not just, well, you can't afford the cleanse, or I can't afford to work with you individually, but the calls are affordable. And so, and I think you load them with information. So can you talk to us a little bit about the calls?
Yes. So they're once a month and they're called a Zoom hack call. And every month I talk about a new subject, a new health tip. I've done digestion, I've done hormones, thyroid, cholesterol, heart disease. There's cleansing, detoxing 101. And this one coming up on Friday that I'm doing is metabolism hacks.
Maybe I
So
should.
every month we try to just look. It's an hour Zoom call. Sometimes at the end they do ask questions. Hopefully I don't run over and they get to ask questions, which is really fun. And we record it and then we send them all the details on what we talked about, as well as the recording. So it's really fun. I love. I mean the Zoom calls are really fun too, but what I also love with the gut cleanse, a lot of times when people do the gut cleanse, I do that Monday morning gut cleanse call
Mhm.
and work with people a lot of times with their digestive issues as part of the gut cleanse. So
Mm.
those Monday morning every week at 9 a.m., we have
I
the gut
didn't.
cleanse is LA, but we talk about just all kinds of gut issues and digestive issues. And it's really fun because a lot of the people join and then we all get to other people get to learn about what's helped other individuals on digestion and gut stuff.
Yeah, because I think the older we get, gut issues become more prevalent, right? And so I think that I have noticed a big difference, to be honest with you, between doing the regular cleanse and this time around doing the gut cleanse. I actually like it better. And I'm not quite sure why. Like I haven't been able to articulate it. Like I know I talked to you a little bit about like I love the chia seed pudding and
Hmm.
stuff, but it's beyond that. It's something else that I feel less bloated.
Hmm. Well, I mean, are you taking the activated charcoal
Yes,
too?
I think that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. Activated charcoal has been around for centuries. You know, it lowers pathogen loads in your gut. I mean, it's incredible. It actually grabs onto toxins, byproducts of alcohol when you've been drinking too much. I mean, it's pretty exceptional. They give it to kids who have stomach flu. I mean, so the activated charcoal is really great because we all have bacteria and fungus and viral issues in our gut, and
Yeah.
sometimes we just need a little reset.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Well, I mean, I certainly needed a reset, and that's the reason why I'm on it right now.
I
But
think also I just want to say one more thing with the gut cleanse because what's been really incredible is you probably deal with this with a lot of your clients and also, but you know, I work with a lot of highly sensitive beings, and
mhm,
I'm a highly sensitive being myself. So people who really are affected by energy and things that are going on around them, and it really affects their gut. It goes right to the gut.
totally.
And
Well, that's where we
so,
would store all our
yeah,
emotions, right?
right. So the gut, yes, we do talk about it a lot these days and over the years, but I don't know if if we really do tie this sensitive human to the gut issues because, and I don't think a lot of people like to admit they're sensitive.
I
So being,
agree. Well,
right?
I agree.
So,
It shows a weak. They believe that it shows a weakness, and action in instead of actually seeing it as a strength, right? And
right.
it's interesting because I used to have severe gut issues before children, and I credit. Well, first of all, I know that I stored a lot of emotions there for sure, and but what I would say is that I actually know for sure that one of the things that helped was acupuncture and all of the herbal remedies. That really helped kick a lot of that out, and I'm
Right.
super grateful for that. So, okay, we can talk forever,
I know. I
but we don't
know.
want to go over an hour because that wouldn't be good. So, I do have one last question for you, and that is, what are your top 5 core values?
Authenticity, I would say, love, you know, love for myself, compassion for others.
Mm, okay, I like it.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for
And is
having
there
me on
anything?
again. I'm so honored. I'm always honored.
Well, I'm so blessed to call you my friend, honestly, and I really am super grateful
Too.
for the mutual gifts, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Thank
Mm.
God we connected. It was
Yes,
the right time at the right place.
absolutely. I would say that divine timing, as they say.
Divine timing. Yeah.
So, I would love for everybody to know how they could reach you and
Yes.
anything that you want to tell them. Like you just
Okay.
said, you have a call tomorrow, so have
Yes,
at it.
tomorrow I have a metabolism hack call at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And then, I have a website, elissagoodman.com. And each week we do put out a new recipe and a new health tip. So it's like loaded with information. And of course, as most people know, I'm on Instagram, God help me, and a little bit of TikTok. But yeah, that's how. And you can always reach out to me on my website to ask questions and things like that, or DMing me, to find
Yeah.
out, things they need. I love answering people's questions because a lot of times it's really easy for me
Well, you
to
love
do
people.
that.
Like you
Yeah,
love people and
yeah,
you want to help. Like you want to serve people. That's who you are. So any
absolutely.
last words of wisdom that you have around
Mm.
longevity, health, nutrition? Like what would you say to a woman that's struggling right now?
Well, the biggest thing that I've learned, like I was saying in the last 4 or 5 years, is that, just that love for myself, not in an ego way, but I love who I am as a woman and just honoring who I am with all the imperfections and the things that I love to change, but most likely can't. But just that giving myself that grace and that compassion myself. I don't think we do that enough for ourselves.
Exactly.
Um, I am a perfectionist. I am driven. I am all those things, but when I can tap back into the love and the compassion for me and take care of me, again, I always have to reiterate for some reason, not in a selfish way, but just as a like, man, I really want to be here for others.
Yeah.
Because for if we don't do that, we're not going to be able to be here for our families and friends and all of that is that's the biggest thing. Like it's crazy how things fall into place,
Hmm.
when we can do that for ourselves more often. And I would have to say, I know you said one thing. One other thing
Say
that's
more than one.
one other thing that
I
cracks
will
me
allow I will allow Elissa Goodman to say more than one thing.
thank you. It cracks me up. People will pay to do a Zoom session with me, and I will say to them, when you wake up in the morning, you have to drink a mandatory of 2 cups of water because your body's been detoxing all night, okay? So, people go right to coffee, right to their eggs or food or whatever, and they don't rehydrate. And my clients will tell me that, "Holy crap, that 2 cups of water you told me to drink was life-changing."
Mm.
Like, you're like I'm like, "What? You
They're
guys
like,
should
that was
know
so
that."
simple. But see, that's the thing though, because actually I usually only think it's 1 cup of water.
Mhm. I know. I know,
And by
it's
the way, things change all the time. It's like you said, I've always known it to be half your body weight in water. And you just said 94 ounces. And I was like, I was already having trouble with 70 or 64 or whatever it was. And
yeah,
I'm like, okay, all right, bring it on. More water.
right.
Okay, well, I love you. I'm
Love you
grateful
too.
for you, and I look forward to releasing this episode and people just continuing to learn more about themselves, loving themselves, and continue to love you.
Thank you. Thank you.